Not wise to watch this movie just before going for a drive. Baby Driver, released in 2017, directed by Edgar Wright. I thought it felt like one of his films, and it wasn't until the end that I checked the director that I was proven to be correct. Production budget of 34 million, domestic take of 107 million, international total of 119, and a worldwide total of 226 million for a profit of 192 million, less for marketing and associated costs. Starring Ansel Elgort, John Hamm, Eliza Gonzalez, Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, and Lily James. Characters, okay. The characters in this are very well done. All of them feel like they fit the scene, all of them fit the mood. None of them are weird or too standout or just don't mesh with the writing style or the scenario, which is really nice. One thing I did find weird though was a lot of the characters are popping in and popping out. You got these support characters that will appear for a couple of sequences, maybe sometimes a big sequence, and then they're gone again, and they're not even referenced again. They're just here and then they're gone. Which makes sense when you look at the way that Doc runs his business, runs his heists. He uses a rotating crew of people who are available. The only real constant is Baby. But it still made it a little weird for me when I'm attaching myself to kind of cool characters and they're great little performances and then they're gone again. However, the two big standouts in the movie are Elgort as Baby. Quite stoic, very reserved until he had his music on. And then it's all personality, charisma, and carry on. That was great. I really enjoyed the way that music activated this kid. And when that straight deadpan face cracked around the girl, forget the name of the character, that was also really good. The two times that he came to life was around the music and the girl. And that really stood out. Very, very clever way of showing the importance of those two things for this character. The other main character, the other one that really stood out was Spacey as Doc. That was good. That was a very strong character, very menacing, very dangerous character, very clearly in control. Even though he's the kingpin bad guy of the movie, you wanted to see more of him on screen, interacting with other people. Didn't really matter about the other people as much. It was more his interactions with them. Now, all the others were good too. They just really didn't stand up to these two. So the score for this one is a 3.5. Solid characters, no real weak points, not sticking your brain memorable, but not burning your brain bad either. So I'm quite happy with that. Story, straight up, love the story. The story feels good. It's a great setup, great premise, great idea. The whole thing about it, the whole way it's done, is engaging, very engaging. Short version: you have a crime boss who had his car stolen from a very talented driver. The crime boss finds out who the kid is, recruits him in until he pays back the debt. And being a relatively honorable crime boss, he stays by his word. The kid's a driver for a bunch of heists, and there are quite a few heists in this film. Lots of opportunity to show off the kid's driving ability as well. To be honest, that's in many ways the very best part of the film. The getaway scenes are just phenomenal. As per standard for these sorts of films though, one of the heists starts to go wrong. Goes wrong once, then goes wrong, really wrong, twice. And then it's the runaway survival, all the convolutions of a... Convolutions? No idea. All the consequences of everything going sideways. And then you've got some betrayals and you've got some vengeance and more than a bit of murder, resulting in a showdown and a final resolution. Nothing surprising there. The romance that's weaved in amongst it though, that was actually sweet. That was actually quite well done. Very well done by Lily James actually. She was really quite good in this. The romance angle and Baby trying to get out of the industry is actually more of a primary plot than a secondary one. It's almost a shared plot line, I'd say. Without the romance angle, the whole movie is just a crime show, and it would be a fairly dull one. But yes, the story keeps you engaged. It slows down a couple of times, but really not enough. The only time the story slows down is it shows you why the kid's the way he is. The flashback sequences were alright. I'm not going to say they're my favourites. I could have done without the flashbacks. You could have just told me about it and I would have been fine, but that's just a personal thing. But story, I'm going to be happily giving this one a 4. Well polished, paced, presented, well done. Look and feel okay. Quickly on the visuals, really well polished, expertly done. I understand there was a fair bit of CGI used for some of these car scenes. You can't tell. The merging of the CGI and reality looked pretty much seamless. I suspected it was enhanced in quite a few ways just because of the complexity and the impossibility of some of those camera angles and what the car was actually doing. Never bumps you out of the movie, never disrupts the movie, but in the back of your mind there's a little voice going, I don't think it works like that. But you're happy to ignore that little voice because you're having a great time. Cars, gear, location, sets, camera angles, lighting, the whole thing. The whole thing looks fantastic. But to be quite honest, you don't care about that because it's the music that gets you. The way they use the music and the way that Baby reacts to the music and the choices of music is just great. In fact, there was a music in this movie that made me think, was this done by Edgar Wright? Just the way that it was used. I'm thinking this is either Edgar Wright or James Gunn. The way they used Tequila and the scene they used it in it's just crazy. It reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy, the way that they use the music for sequences that don't always match but actually match perfectly. Without the score and the songs they used, this movie wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it was, to be quite honest. It accompanied and lifted and carried the film in so many ways. In fact, without it, it would have just been another car chase, gunfight, crime caper movie. And there are hundreds of them, but the way that they used the songs in this film made it stand out as something special. Look and feel gets an easy 4.25. Script and dialogue. Okay, funnily enough, this is the bit that bounced between really good and kind of pedestrian. I wasn't expecting that. I think because of polish and the presentation of everything else in the film, I was expecting much more from the script. Which is a funny thing because there's nothing actually wrong with it really. But compared to the songs, but compared to everything else in the film, it just felt a little lackluster at times. About halfway through the film, I realized that the motivation for these characters to be bullying Baby, the driver, didn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, at first, before they knew what he could do, but then the getaway driver does this amazing thing and incredible feats of vehicular impossibility, right? And then they still give him crap. Seemed a little out of place about halfway through. I thought, okay, we've got it. Why are we hammering this? We get it. We got it. The way they did some of the exposition and the pre-heist breakdowns, which is one of my favorite things in these kind of movies, that was really clever. I really enjoyed the manner that they did that. And the blending of the music into those scenarios are also just solid gold. It's just every now and then it didn't make sense. Or it didn't, correction, it made sense. It just felt less quality than the rest of the film. Now, I know that sounds like I'm nitpicking, and I suppose I am. But when the rest of the movie is just really quite good, and you get these dips, they're like bumps in the road. It's like hitting a speed bump, a little faster than you intended. So you notice it, it's like it jolts you. So well, why was that there? So overall for script, I'm going to be giving it a 3. It's still good, it just, when it stacks up against the rest of the film, isn't the strongest part of the movie. And besides, when it's done by Edgar Wright, you're expecting something about here, yeah? Fun factor, well, this was good time. I loved the music. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the spectacle. I will probably watch it again. I'm not going to be racing to watch it again. It's not on my top priority list of films to repeat view. Probably going to buy the soundtrack. That's more than likely. Didn't always do what I was expecting it to do, which is cool. Didn't always deliver what I was hoping it would, which was a bit of a disappointment. But again, not enough to ruin the film at all. This was pretty good fun. I'll be giving this one a fun factor of 3.5. Good time, and I'm glad you all picked it. Final score, Animal Together and Baby Driver gets an 18.25. Well done, enjoyable heist movie with an excellent soundtrack and some very good performances. I do recommend it, however, just be aware there is some strong language and a lot of people get dead. By strong, I mean almost constant. That did distract me a bit, I must admit. Anyhow, there's my review of Baby Driver. Thank you to the Facebook community. They voted this one in. It was a good time. But have you seen it? What did you think? Please comment down below on the Facebook page. As usual, please like, share and subscribe. Recommend it to your friends. But as always, and most importantly, I hope you're having a great week and you make some time to watch a movie.